Good morning. Today we are talking about reinvention. And basically, 2020 has been one hell of a year. It has not been anything like what we expected. So we now are faced with some choices. First one is we can be passive. We can wait and see what happens next. Or we can take charge. We can reinvent who we are because some of us have lost our businesses, we've lost our careers, and some of us are sitting on the sideline realizing life is really short. Why am I still doing all the things that I no longer enjoy doing? So if something feels like you're depressed or that you're in a dysfunctional situation, if you feel dissatisfied, follow that. Follow that. In fact, this is a time that I'm going to reflect on the days when I was doing triathlons. And most of the triathlons that I participated in were off-road. They were Xterra events where we would do mountain biking as the biking piece. And when you're mountain biking, you could look at the obstacles. You could look at the rock, the huge rock that was ready to trash you. You could look at the side of the cliff or the sway in the swinging bridge that you were crossing. You could be overcome by the log that you're about to ride over. When you're going downhill as fast as you can, you could be distracted by the trees, the roots, the rocks again. But the way to make it was to have a through line, to pick a line and focus on it and get through it. And reinvention is one of those things. In fact, that's how I've gotten through all of the turmoils and the hard times, the cathartic experiences, is I had a through line. And I decided I want to get through this with my integrity. So some questions to ask yourself today would be, who am I? Who do I want to become? Where am I going? How am I going to get there? Those are the questions we want to ask. And inside of each of us, we have a plumb line of integrity that if we follow that, we'll always be in flow. We'll always be in a really, really good place. So if you want to make something meaningful out of your life, often we have to reinvent that life. And this is probably a good wake-up call for anyone who wants to do that. I'm going to be on this line for just a little longer here on Facebook if you have questions about how to do that. But one of the things you'll want to consider is joining the link below. Excuse me, have a little bit of pollen in the air today. There's a link below that you can get into our email subscription. We're sending out a bunch of instructions on how to reinvent. One of the best things you can do is to ask these questions, really. Who am I wanting to become? Where do I want to go? That's my through line. And how then do I get there? The first two are the most important. The second one is the one that usually someone like myself, a mentor or a guide, can support you to find out, how do I get there? You don't necessarily need to know that, except to know that one step at a time is the best way. Things won't be obvious. In fact, if you are stuck in an eddy, if you are out in a river rafting, and you get thrown out of the raft, and you get caught into this washing machine deep eddy that's swirling and twirling and pulling you under. One of the best things that you want to do is fight the instinct to get up, to get to the light, to get to the air. Instead, and I'm not experienced at this, I've just been listening to people who are, throw your arms up and just surrender and go under. And down in the bottom of the water will take you with the natural flow of the river and send you out so that you can escape the eddy. Some of us feel like we're in an eddy. Don't focus on Trump. Don't focus on the Dems. Don't focus on whatever you think is your distraction right now. Find your through line. Surrender to that and take steps. Cherie, it's good to see you here. It's good to have those of you here with me. If you have questions, please post them below. I'll be staying on top of this post to answer any questions you have about reinvention. Most importantly, join our newsletter because I'm dishing out little tips of advice each day. So here's an exercise to get you started for today. Go ahead and make a map of all the jobs that you've ever had from way back. My first job as a 13-year-old was to clean schools. I was scraping gum off of desks, and I was shampooing carpets, and I was cleaning up chalkboards at the time. And one of the things I learned about that first job is I learned part of my identity. I was starting to be known as a hard worker, someone who showed up and was reliable and on time, and friendly and easy to get along with. Those are parts of my identity. Look back, go back to that very first job and notice what part of your identity is. And see if that is not something that's worth paying close attention to, because that really is where we want to focus. Focus on your through line. Focus on your identities that you have given to each of the jobs that you've had. And instead of what was the role, what was the position, who were you when you showed up? Okay, I'm here, Soul Salt's here. Reinvention is a thing of the times. And maybe now it's your time. Thanks for joining us.